Hey, folks, I'm just sitting out here in my garage sipping on some gin and juice, having a cigar, and thinking about the hot topic of the day, which is drag queens. And the reason why we're talking about drag queens now is because the Republican Party had to come up with a new boogeyman to turn their voters' attention toward. They had to find something to turn their voters' hate and their rage towards, and they do that by turning it towards something they know that their voter won't understand. Well, their voter isn't going to understand drag queens, so guess what, guys? That's what you should be afraid of now. Be afraid of drag queens. Keep them away from the children. And they're always going to throw that in. We don't want this around our children, and they will fall for it hook, line, and sinker. The reason that the Republican Party does this is because the only thing that they have on their agenda is to make themselves and their rich friends richer. But how do they do that and keep the average Joe who drives back and forth to work every day, how do they keep him voting for them? Well, they do that by getting him stirred up over something that's never going to affect him in any way. That way, they can work on the things that's affecting him. They're never going to bring a jobs bill to the table. They're never going to do anything to help the economy. They're never going to do anything to help healthcare. They're never going to do anything to help the environment. And they don't have to, as long as they steer their voters' attention to the things that they hate and to the things that they do not understand. And they don't understand drag queens. So, hey, everybody, we should keep the children away from that. And it's absolute bullshit, because these people who went to Guns N' Roses, Cinderella, Poison concerts back in the day that all had their hair standing on end and their makeup on, that was okay because you guys understood that. You understood Poison. You wanted to look like Bret Michaels. You understood all that shit. But you don't understand this, and you think you're holier than thou by turning your fake outrage towards that. But anyone with any common sense can see through what's happening. You're being played with another ridiculous culture war. That's all this is. It's another culture war for them to fight on your behalf, and you will think they're fighting for you. Meanwhile, they're taking away your pension, they're taking away your health care, they're taking away everything you ever worked for, and you're not paying attention because your focus is on something that you hate and you don't understand. And it's funny to me that you're worried about the children. You're worried about a drag queen reading a book to a kid. I've been a musician for over 25 years. I have sat in the bar long after the bar closed talking to people. And I have heard stories that would make your skin crawl. I have heard stories that would make your blood absolutely boil from people who were hurt by straight people who they trusted. They were hurt by their ministers. They were hurt by their youth leaders. They were hurt by their Sunday school teachers. They were hurt by family members who they trusted. They were hurt by their school teacher. They were hurt by their coaches. And you guys just want to keep sweeping that under the rug. Let's sweep all that under the rug and let's worry about drag queens reading a book to a kid. I have yet to meet, and I'll tell you if I do, I have yet to meet anyone in a bar who says my life was destroyed because a drag queen read a story to me. I have not heard that, but I've heard countless people talk about how the church ruined them. I know so many people who to this day live in fear and live with nothing but guilt and shame, and they've been made to feel guilty and shameful for every human emotion they had because some preacher preyed upon their emotions and made them feel guilty about everything they ever did. And I know so many people who are suffering and trying to deconstruct with the religious trauma that was put on them as a child, and yet you will drive your child back to those buildings. Knowing the reputation those people have, knowing the record they have, knowing how many times that they were found guilty of hurting a child, you'll drive them right back to it, and you'll sweep that under the rug, and then turn and tell me you're just worried about the children. You don't give a fuck about the children. Come down off that high horse. This is nothing more than another right-wing culture war that they have turned your attention to and said, get mad at that. And next week, you'll be mad at something else. And you'll say that's for the children. Meanwhile, you'll just keep driving your children right back to a place that's been proven time and time again to do nothing but psychological damage to them. So don't tell me it's for the children, and just know that reasonable people can look over and see that you're being manipulated by politicians who have no ideas. And when you're old and gray and you're sitting there going, I got doctor bills. I can't figure out how to pay this. How am I supposed to pay this? What am I supposed to do? I can't even work anymore. I can't do anything. What am I supposed to do? I'm going to say, well, buddy, I mean, if you'd have been focused on those things instead of the drag queens, maybe you wouldn't be sitting there fucked out of everything you ever worked for.